Peace, and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of African Liberation School, broadcasting live every Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank y'all for joining us at our special broadcast time for today. We got a special brother, Warrior Conrad, in the building. Some powerful information. Break some things down. I speak of none other than my brother Jay Dizzle K. What's good, God? How you be?
What's good? Peace. Let me start off by saying it's a pleasure to be on the show, on the program. You know what I'm saying? I've enjoyed what y'all been putting out. So much love and respect to the family. For those that are listening, Supreme Creator, the ancestors, the elders, the soldiers on the street, the activists, you know, and all of our people worldwide.
All right. So let's start with a brief introduction, man. You know what I'm saying? Who tell the people who you are, man? Jay Dizzle, not a cat, man. Black I stand.
Right. So they call me Nettercat or Jay Dizzle. I'm the host and founder of Black I Stand Radio, which airs Saturdays. Some of that independent black media programming that we do to bring the proper propaganda to the people, to bring the information that you ain't going to get, to bring the support and show the love and show the narrative that will never be shown on CNN and Fox. And even your little more liberal media is not going to show you the real when it comes to our people. Matter of fact, it's not even their job to do so. It's our job. So that's what Black I Stand is, and part of the Liberation Minded Media Group, which includes Get This Wisdom, Do the Knowledge Radio, My Skin is My Sin, and The Rundown with Renee. I also have a nonprofit called the YES Program, which stands for Youth Empowerment Solutions, which deals with education, economics, mentoring, athletics, and the such. So, basically a community activist, organizer, somebody that's just, trying to do something to better our people and to steer us and build towards self-determination, which is the goal. That should be defined as our mission, as our objective. Should be self-governance, self-determination. You know what I'm saying? To be able to feed, clothe, shelter, govern, protect ourselves, educate ourselves. So that's a little something.
I gotta figure out a way to drop the bombs over here, Jake. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get the bombs over to African Liberation School, man. You know what I'm saying? I got them on the platform. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get away, find a way to transfer them junks over here, man. So, I asked you to come on today to speak about the business of liberation. So I definitely wanted to get your input and your take on. Oftentimes we look at this one way. You see what I'm saying? We look at liberation one way, and I know you have a way and the means and the outlook in regards to uh, economics, also autonomy and a lot of the sort. So I definitely wanted to get your thoughts on in regards to what liberation looks like through these lenses. You see what I'm saying? So got the floor to get into something. Um, might be easier if I ask you a question.
Let's see how that works. Let's see how that works.
Let me try that, man. Let me try. Right. Do you think autonomy can be achieved for Black people in America? And if so, through what medium or means?
I definitely think that it can and will be, established. It's really should be the only thing that we're striving for. Like we can make money on the way. You know what I'm saying? If there's ways that we can make money, because, the revolution ain't free. You feel me? The revolution ain't free. So we can make money on the way to that. We could do a lot of things on the way to that, but we have to have that autonomy. Matter of fact, when we look at like Black Wall Street, and we look at some of the other townships that we created and communities that we created, that's what it was all about. It was about being able to control our own destiny, to govern ourselves, to do business and meet the needs and wants and demands of ourselves by ourselves. It was FUBU. You know what I'm saying? To be able to feed, clothe, shelter, protect, educate, have a political force that directly benefits the community. Like, these are the things that we should be striving for. The minister, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, had said that, saying any people that's not participating in the business of life is a dead people. So that means to participate in the business of life is not just on an economic basis. You know what I'm saying? It's on a nationalist basis. It's to think as a nation and do what a nation would do, to be able to be self-sufficient, to be able to govern themselves, to be able to protect themselves, to be able to live in a way that is desirable by the nation. So us being a nation within a nation, then the first thing we should be striving for is that. That's exactly what we need to strive for. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why you don't see the Chinese up in arms about Donald Trump and his shenanigans. You don't see Jewish people. You don't see East Indian community. You don't see them up in arms about, they don't really care because they have their own system in place that insulates them from, you know what I'm saying, the rhetoric and the, you know what I'm saying, the fear monger and all that, because they have their own community that they're more concerned with. So they control the economics. They control who gets jobs. They control who builds businesses. You know, they control how they delegate themselves. You know what I'm saying? They control the politics. They control the policing in their communities. They control the food, you know, so they don't, you know what I'm saying? They're not so up in arms about it because they have a security. They have a comfort level of security that is based on their culture, that is based on the fact that they control the economics and in the day-to-day business of life in their community. That's something that we have to get to, you know. So definitely I think that we could. What it would look like is us in a more unified way, and it would look like us being able to meet our own needs, you know, you know what I'm saying? So whether they're consumer goods, whether they're educational, whether they're health, we should be able to meet them ourselves, and we can. So we're not really even outsmarted. We're basically out organized. As I believe Kwame Ture said, we're out organized. So we're not, if we see ourselves as a nation, then we would see the different organizations and individuals that have goods and services and that have things that they add to the community. We would see those as potential departments of the governance of our communities. You know what I'm saying? So we wouldn't go out of our way to spend our money with other people. We wouldn't go out of our way, you know what I'm saying, to contribute to the success of other people who, you know what I'm saying, we wouldn't allow $1 billion industry in our neighborhoods called the hair care business, you know what I'm saying, when there's plenty of sisters that can run those kind of businesses that our people can be supported. We wouldn't allow so many foreign restaurants in our communities. We wouldn't allow the vaccinations and things that take place, and we wouldn't need them because we'd be following more of a principle laid down by some of our greatest health experts and doctors like Sabi and Lila Africa and you know what I'm saying, and others that travel that line. You know, we'd be able to meet the needs and wants of our own community, and that would be self-autonomy right there, and to be able to hold power, to control what happens economically, control what happens politically. We have the means of doing that. We have done that in the past. But I think the illusion of success being money, when people think of success as just merely money, then it's like the more material objects that we accumulate, the more comfortable we feel, the less we feel the need to you know what I'm saying, struggle for the greater of all of our people, because we get, you know what I'm saying, comfortable and feeling like our individual success is happiness, and that is in itself success. But it's not, because anything that we accumulate on a material level, when we don't have our own support systems in place, it could be taken, you know what I'm saying? So that's an illusion. So for us to actually materialize it, we could look at the past of things that we have done, look at the mistakes of Black Wall Street. How did we fail? You know what I'm saying? The first time we fell in Black Wall Street was not having a sufficient military or defense mechanism in place. That's number one. We can't build anything without that. You know what I'm saying? But however, after the bombs, after the atrocities that happened, you know what I'm saying, we rebuilt it, and then it was integration. It was the illusion of inclusion, that illusion of success. We thought the model of success was being able to spend money with white people. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the model of success. It really only broke down our economics, which lessened our power politically. And next thing you know, it's gentrification. So yeah, we can, long story short, we can accomplish autonomy in this nation.
Now, you spoke from a key principle in autonomy being achieved is, autonomy or sovereignty or liberation through unification. What are some of those action steps that you can see that need to be implemented in regards to true unity? And can you start with the definition of what unity looks like to you? What how is unity defined from your vantage point?
Unity, to me, looks like working towards a common objective. So that means that we don't have to be concerned about if we get along about everything, or if we agree on everything, or if we feel that we want to dress the same, or if we have the same religion or spiritual practice. That has nothing to do with unity. Unity is having the same objective. So if our objective is self-determination, saying if we all can agree on that, then we could all accept our differences, because we're all going to work collectively towards that goal, within our own lanes, within our own skill set. So that's what unity looks like. And we can practice acts of unity, not just on a we have to practice on a local level, of course, but also even on a national level. So for instance, as the hurricane is going down, and as a lot of different platforms came together to raise money for our people in Houston. See, that's unity right there. That's practicing Black love right there. That's beginning to practice to trust ourselves in each other, to be able to depend on ourselves and each other, because we have the same goal. So nobody's saying, hey, if you're not Muslim, you can't participate in this, or if you're not Christian, you can't participate in this. That's not even the issue, because we all understand the goal is to have support efforts for our people in Houston. So that's just a micro way of looking at it. But on a macro level of looking at it, as people, we all want self-sustainability. We all want self-determination. We want liberation. We want to be able to do what we do without the outside influence of others. That's what we want. That's independence. We want liberation, free from outside control. So in order to have that, then yes, with 40 million of us is the numbers that they report. I know the numbers are way higher than that, but even just working on 40 million, that's a nice sized nation. So within the 40 million of our people, we have every element that we need. We have engineers, we have doctors, we have media, we have builders, we have entertainers of all sorts, because, you have to have balance. We have warriors, we have, all the elements of a nation. But like I said, when we're not properly organized, then we're basically working in silos. We're working in silos individually. But if we have the understanding and we unify under the principle of justice and under the principle of truly being liberated and independent and self-governing and self-sufficient, if we liberate or if we organize and unify under those principles, then we can achieve self-autonomy as a nation. So the unity does not look like the methodology. It's not the method in which we feel we're going to establish these things. It is, what are we trying to establish? Now, you could do what you do, I could do what I do, they could do what they do, but we're all working towards the same thing, and we'll find ways to come together when it makes sense, and we'll also work in our own lanes and avenues when it makes sense, but we're unified under the same cause. It's no different than what you see, we speak Pan-Africanism all the time, but the concept to some people may seem foreign, it may seem unnecessary, it may seem, like they don't understand what it's all about. Well, all you have to do is look at the flip of that. Look at Pan-Europeanism. They don't even call it that, but that's essentially what it is, because all the European countries are in a similar alliance. They have a similar challenge and a similar necessity, which is survival as a people, because you look at these European nations, they don't have any resources. They don't have very many natural resources in their countries, yet they are prosperous. Why? Because they understand, they unified under that pan-Euroism, if you want to call it that, to make sure that they were able to colonize the places of the planet that had the natural resources so they could feed themselves. They work collectively together to do that. They don't all agree on religion. They don't all agree on homosexuality issues. They don't all agree on being Democrats or Republicans, but they all do agree that for their own survival, that they must be united to conquer the darker nations that have the resources on the planet.
Yeah, 86% of the world's economy comes out of Africa. So we got the rest of the world vying for that other 14%.
Right.
So we up here in the Pacific Northwest, and we get a place like Starbucks, for example. Starbucks get 90% of what they sell from Africa, and the other 10% is from South America. You understand what I'm saying? So when we looking at autonomy, and if we trying to look for a success model in regards to uh, this autonomy, this place is a satellite of who it owes allegiance to. You understand what I'm saying? So we're looking at America from a vantage point. It took America over 200 years to become America. Over 200 years. You know, they've been fighting war every step of the way. It's only been 30 years where they didn't have war going on. You see what I'm saying? And it
Right.
wasn't a continuous 30 years. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes, sir.
even within that pocket, it's still, you know, documentation that will support. Even within that 30-year skirmish, it may not have been an external war, but it's been an internal war. You see what I'm saying? So when we're looking at unity of mind and unity of thought, which precedes unity of action, you know, it's definitely you have to address in regards to mental instability and generational trauma. You understand what I'm saying in regards to our people's overall wellness and the Stockholm syndrome that we've been dealing with here, you know, in regards to that. So I wanted to ask your thoughts in regards to, you know, the need for reconciliation among our people. You know, how do you see this being achieved?
That's a good question. Well, you know, I don't really think that we should depend. I mean, I think definitely we should push for the reparations. We should definitely push for that and support other movements that are pushing for that. However, as a plan B, if we understood how much money we spend, if we understood the power that we have just with our economics, because I think Nuri Muhammad said the only thing that the white man respects is blood and money. So if that's the case, and if we don't feel like we have the capabilities to shed the blood necessary to get the change that we need and the justice that we need, well, we can easily use money as a leverage for change, because we can shut down most of these companies that support legalized slavery for 2017. We call it the private prison system, but in essence, what it is a new age slavery system, like literally, according to the 13th Amendment. So if we have over $1 trillion of spending power, and that is more than 90% of the countries on this earth, and that means that we can pretty much shut down, you know what I'm saying, the corporations that don't support us and that actually make money off of enslaving us. And not only can we shut those down, you know what I'm saying, and bring them to their knees and bring them to the negotiating table to where they'll operate in a way that it's not detrimental to us, and they'll stop, you know what I'm saying, raping our communities. But at the same time, we could be building up our own businesses. We could be building up our own media platforms with this kind of money. We could be building up our own institutions educationally and health-wise, you know, so we can actually give ourselves the reparations. Because if you think about it, I said this before, and I still stand by this, the power that runs United States is pretty much us. Like, if it wasn't for us, then this shit would have been failed. We've seen how far it's fallen, no matter how they put the, you know what I'm saying, illusions on TV to make people think that they're mightier and stronger and more powerful and richer than they are. Listen, without us, they have nothing. They have nothing in entertainment. They have nothing in sports. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have anything in science. The top scientists are us. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the consumer base that consumes without even producing. You know what I'm saying? But if we change that, then we would empower ourselves, and we would also break the powers that oppress us. Right now, what we do is we pretty much fund our own oppression. You know what I'm saying? The companies that we run to spend our money to when we're passing up black businesses are the same companies that build private prisons and invest in private prisons, meaning that they need more police presence on the streets. So if we complaining that the police are killing us with impunity, then we should consider the fact that we're actually empowering their sponsors We're actually sponsoring our own terrorism against us. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be able to do these things if we averted our money and our resources and our finances and our power back to ourselves. That's one of the things when we think of about Black Wall Street, you know, because of necessity, that money had to continue to circulate. So they had no other choice but to be able to meet their own needs. You know what I'm saying? It's only when we took our money and we empowered those who hate us that you know what I'm saying, you started to see Black Wall Street actually start to crumble. And Black Wall Street is a model, you know what I'm saying, for how we can economically empower ourselves across the country and across the world. Because if 86% of the resources come from Africa, and if from what people are telling me who speak to people in Africa on a regular basis, they're basically waiting for us. You know what I'm saying? They're waiting for us to put ourselves in a position to do business with them. They don't want to have to sell their diamonds to De Beers. They don't want to have to sell their raw chocolate to Hershey's and these other companies that exploit them. They don't want to have to sell those resources to unfriendly nations, but out of the necessity of having to be able to sustain themselves, they have to. But if we were organized in a fashion where we can take advantage of the resources that are from our motherland with our brothers that are still right there, then, you know what I'm saying, it'd be a game changer. I forgot the question.
Jake Dizzle spitting that fire. Spitting that fire, baby. You know what I'm saying? So this coalition being formed, you know, hey, and let me just back up real quick for a second. We live in a global economy. You see what I'm saying? So the only way anything that is being achieved by any satellite, because we only got satellites in this nation. We the only people that don't operate as a satellite, meaning that a satellite comes from India, a satellite comes from Pakistan, a satellite comes from China, Japan, all these other places. When we start to look at these ethnic groups in America, they have a nation that's backing them. You see what I'm saying? So chiefly, a lot of their economy is growing from the funds that are earmarked that are coming from this situation to their nation. You understand what I'm saying? So when our ancestors, when our elders, those righteous ones among us was trying to make us a nation, we would now be inclined to do things nationalistically. You see what I'm saying? Now we would be under a flag. That's why the Honorable Marcus Josiah Garvey gave us a flag to institute divisions of labor and law and government under the UNIA. You understand what I'm saying? So we would have a nationalistic identity. Because we don't have that, we're looking at individual strides and individual families. You understand what I'm saying? So we're not even looking in the family dynamic of a family, our family within the confines of a community. It's all the way down to the individual family that it's not even a family, even though they may have came out of the same womb. The calculatedness in this is everybody in the household is thinking independent thought. That's how disconnected we are. You understand what I'm saying? Like we're that disconnected down to the very essence of nature, which is self-preservation. So we will have to do a entire reformation process to unify a family, and the idea of the family being a family. You know, we got brothers and sisters that's at war with one another. You see what I'm saying? In accordance to whatever family that they represent. Whether it's a street tribe, whether it's the education that they're receiving from school, whether it's one of these religious institutions, whether it's the virtual world, because that has an impact on the family now. You see what I'm saying? All of these divides that are coming in divisively to not even, they share the same last name, they share the same blood. You see what I'm saying? They share the same lineage, and individuality is still celebrated within the household. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to fight through all of that muck and mire to even begin to have a conversation around us coming together. You understand what I'm saying? As a family. Because once a family comes together, then a family gets together with another family that wants to come together, and they form community. Because it only takes two families to begin to form a community. And then that community comes together collectively with those families who want to unify, and they begin to build a statehood, and then we can, build a nationhood. But all of those things have to come into play, you know, with a global influence. Because as soon as we want to deal with economics and what we value and what we accept for value, you see what I'm saying? So, the concept that you are speaking to are true to life, and as more for grassroots. You see what I'm saying? We have built and fortified all of these other satellites that exist, all of these stores that's in our community. You see what I'm saying? These mom and pop stores, while our stores are getting shut down, burnt down, closed down, or not even open, these other ones are, continuing to thrive. You see what I'm saying? They're continuing to thrive with our support. And the second thing that I would say, with this $1 trillion spending power, who is providing that $1 trillion? Is it us or is it our enemies? You see what I'm saying? So if we're going to work and producing labor, for our enemies, what kind of spending power do they have? You see what I'm
Right.
saying? If they can afford to part with $1 trillion, you see what I'm saying? The difference between us and our ancestors, when you're speaking about Black Wall Street was that wealth that was built up was generated by the needs of our people, by addressing the needs of our people and our people's spending power. They would come and spend with one another. We were in business with one another. These were generations. We were homeowners. You see what I'm saying? We were landowners and all kinds of things here in America. These dynamics have drastically changed over years through gentrification, through this chemical and biological warfare, and all of these other means that our enemies have used to dethrone us from our space and glory, because our family is our glory. You see what I'm saying? So if our family as African people are not looking within to one another and say, hey, I'm going to school because of my family, I'm going to work because of my family, you understand what I'm saying? To better the family's standing, increase the potentiality for future success. You see what I'm saying? We think we're going to work just to go to work. We're going to school just to go to school. It's not purposeful. It's not, it's not with intention. You see what I'm saying? We're not intentionally, interfacing in a way that we should. You see what I'm saying? So these are a lot of psychological barriers that we have to break through in order to, reach this goal. But this, the will is there, the determination is there, um, and the ability to sustain, that to run that marathon versus that quick sprint. You see what I'm saying? Um, and to deal with adversity. No one has faced greater challenges and adversity than us. So, we are resilient people, but all those things are all fractionalized when we don't begin to look within. You see what I'm saying? As long as we're looking without for an answer, we don't look within, we won't see, what's going on. You see what I'm saying? And it's kind of hard to look within if you got two black eyes and a broke jaw. You see what I'm saying? You can't see out and you can't see in. You know what I mean? Because you walking around, you got your jaw broke. You see what I'm saying? You can't talk. You got your eyes is wide shut, and all of these things is happening. So you can't even defend yourself, and you can't even call for help. So you just stuck with it. You know what I mean? Oh, and by the way, your arms and your legs are broken. So you got no mobility. So you just suffering. You see what I'm saying? You could just continuing to suffer. You see what I'm saying? And you suffering in silence because you can't even come to nobody for help. You can't even see who hitting you. You see what I'm saying? So these are all of the things that we're dealing with in regards to this cycle of abuse and, the support that we have indiscriminately, for our enemies, and that that we got from one another, because of the shame that's associated with it, You see what I'm saying? All of those things that we have, that we uh, share internally but not externally. All of that strife and all of that, fear and all those things that we exercise on one another internally. You know what I'm saying? So that's a I know I just said a whole bunch of shit just now. But the dynamics of it was basically to about our economic power, but our economic power is not sustained or created by us. That's
Right, right.
I'm saying. So, what are some of the things that we can do to divert that? You see what I'm saying? That energy, like
Yeah.
just say for instance, we got the slogan "Buy Black," right? We say, hey, support a black business, buy black, blah 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 blah. So let's say I got a t-shirt company, and I'm out on the streets like, hey, support black business, buy black, blah blah blah, and 1,000 people stop going to Walmart or wherever the hell people shop to buy their stuff, right? Is my company prepared for them 1,000 people to come in like they were going to Walmart? You see what I'm saying? Is them 1,000 people ready to come in? Like, yo, you open up a mechanic shop. You see what I'm saying? Or are you prepared to deal with uh, the customers? We ain't going to nobody else but Jake Dizzle Auto Parts and Repair. You see what I'm saying? What are some of the things that we could do to get into that mind frame to be able to prepare ourselves for that type of influx? Because that influx is coming. You see what I'm saying? That the whole slogan, "Make America Great Again," like it's gonna come to a point where they don't even want your money, your credit, none of that shit. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yep.
that's how far the line has to be pushed in order for them to understand what autonomy is. So in the meanwhile, uh, the aversion to the bus boycott, like they had the bus boycott, right? Could have had a black bus company built with the money that they saved from not going on another bus. You see what I mean? So nobody riding the bus, well, we riding this black bus line. You see what I'm saying? We riding this. And so we don't give a fuck about where we sit on your bus no more. Like your bus don't exist no more to us. You see what I'm saying? We walk in, we carpooling. Those experiences force us a type of solidarity. But as the backdrop, no black bus companies was founded. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. And again, I know I said a whole bunch of shit just now, so I just be able to talk about how can we divert that spending power and the necessity for us, being about the business of liberation from that perspective.
Right, right. And to really be about the business of liberation with our particular situation in the time that we live in, we do have to do like Marcus Garvey did and project generations beyond us. You know what I'm saying? So, we speak about the $1 trillion and what we can do with the $1 trillion, and we can build up the infrastructure. We within our own communities, institutions and things like that. But really, we even have to be looking past that. Like we have to be looking past the fact of even using their dollars or even needing their dollars. So what we do is we use this income to turn that bullshit fiat currency into actual material, into actual tractors, and actual land, and the actual resources that we need, not only for trade, but also to have the mechanisms to be able to produce our own goods and distribute our own goods. And then pretty soon what happens is we can feed ourselves, we can clothe ourselves, we can shelter ourselves, we can entertain ourselves, we can build technology, we can protect ourselves, we can, do things that a sovereign or an independent people truly can do. And pretty soon we don't even actually need that money. If we can regulate our own water with water wells on land that we own, then we don't have a water bill. We don't have the necessity to ask somebody else to give us water. If we can grow our own food, now it doesn't matter what happens at Safeway or Kroger's, wherever you live, whatever the grocery stores are called. We don't have those kind of needs because now we can take care of those ourselves because we start seeing ourselves as a nation So we start seeing ourselves as, this is why a lot of the revolutionaries of the day, they always spoke about socialism, the ability for the community to meet the needs and wants and not to do it for profit. So we're doing these things under the necessity of knowing that this is what it takes for us to be a liberated, independent nation. So we only have to use the fiat currency only to accomplish, that's only an ends to the means. We have to even look past that. We have to even look at what are we going to do about having our own currency and how can we back that? And these kind of things come when we start doing on an international level with other countries. We start having that capability when we have our own goods that we produce ourselves. We control the distribution and the production of it. We control what the value is, and we can trade for other things that we need. So now, we have an international connection. We're nationally based. We have our flag, we have our agenda, we have our bylaws, we have our laws, we have our judicial system, we have our education system, we have our food production. We have the means to be able to actually, supply the needs and wants of our people. So keeping in mind that all of our people are never going to come to the terms of even wanting to be free or even knowing that we're not free. It's like what Harriet said, what Queen Harriet Tubman said. She freed so many people, yet she could have freed more had they even known they were slaves. So a lot of our people don't even understand, like, yo, this is not life. It's not about climbing up a corporate ladder just so we could be a little bit more comfortable in a whole system that's destroying us and where we have no power. It's about obtaining our own statehood, our own self-governance, our own autonomy. So eventually what that means is that, no, we can't even depend on the currency. Like they can't even depend on that. But what we have to do for now is use it to accumulate the things. And then we'll, as long as we could, if we have land, the ability, like I said, the basic things, the food, clothes, shelter. If we have the ability to provide that for ourselves, pretty soon the money is not needed, because if we want that new TV, and we're truly a nation, then that means there's engineers within there that can build these type of products. Like the resources that it takes for the TV, for the telephone, for the computer, for the tablet, it all comes from Africa. The resources for luxury items like diamonds, like chocolate, like gold, which is more than just luxury. It could also be used as a conductor of electricity and things like that. All these things come in abundance from our homeland. So why wouldn't we work ourselves in a position, to be national, to be a satellite of the throne in which we can do business and commerce, and we can sustain ourselves and have a high standard of living and the ability to have the technological, the technology and the arms to protect ourselves and deter anybody from encroaching on us in the first place, to be able to implement a health system that assures longevity and good standard of living, to be able to educate ourselves. And some of these things, we could do on the micro level. So all these things that build as we form this nation, all these different organizations, all these different individuals who have different programs going, all these become like government departments within the government. So we're not doing this for naught. We're actually serving the people on a micro level, and all these things we can consolidate into an actual nation that's organized as such and that's recognized as such. So like these are not far-fetched goals. It's like we're actually, the process of it happening is actually happening. So yes, we do have to have certain discussions, so that we make sure we steer it properly, so that we recognize what is happening, so we could take advantage of certain situations, and so we could, make the proper moves. But, we need to accelerate the process, because this is something that is happening. It can't be stopped. Over time, it's going to happen regardless. It's going to be no choice but that. That's just what it is. So what we could do is we could accelerate it so that we can enjoy some of the perks in our lifetime, and so that we could, lay down the legacy for the work that needs to be done after us, and so we could pick up the work that has been done before us. So And to get to the reparations part or the restoration part, you know what I'm saying, that's something that nobody can do that for us. Like nobody can actually, you know what I'm saying, heal us. We shouldn't even look for outsiders to do that. Yes, they can give us some money. They can give us 40 acres and a meal. That's all good. But as far as us actually doing the work to heal ourselves, then that's going to be our job to do so. And like I said, some people is not going to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? And there's going to have to be some type of a purge. There's going to be some type of a separation as we separate from, you know what I'm saying, our oppressors, and we begin to be able to practice self-autonomy. Unfortunately, we're even going to have to separate from some people who look like us, who has already chosen their alliance with them. You know what I'm saying? Or who, because of their sleepness that they won't come out of, they become a liability. So, I mean, that's just the reality. We're in a unique time, you know what I'm saying? But really nothing under the sun is new. But we're in a unique time, so it's going to be unique, you know what I'm saying, solutions to our challenges.
I like that flag, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you one just like that. You know what I'm saying? Give me one just like that, man. You know what I'm saying? So as far as our opposition, you know, who do we see as our opposition, directly and indirectly?
Then the opposition that we face is that the white man is the devil. God damn it. That's what it is. But when I define devil, you know what I'm saying, I'm not worried about the low-life Peckerwoods, you know, the kinds that will call my show and nigger this, nigger, in the white boys I'm not worried about them at all, because they don't register to me. You know what I'm saying? They'll get dealt with if that's how they want to do it. But our focus really, and I don't even want to focus on them too much. You know what I'm saying? But when we're speaking about government, we're speaking about corporations, we're speaking about religious institutions, we're speaking about those who control the production of food, we're talking about corporations. Those are the ones that are worthy of our time. And right now, those are the ones that we have to be able to neutralize their power. But unfortunately, a lot of us, you know, will see them as the God. They see our oppressors as God. So that's what makes them afraid to be able to even fight back. That's what makes them feel like, some of our people feel like we can't even win, because our fear of them. You know what I'm saying? We think that they're so powerful and great. It's the great Wizard of Oz. So we give up before we even fight, because why should we fight? You know what I'm saying? This is why they painted this white Jesus shit. So why should you fight? Excuse the language. I don't know how y'all do about cussing on here, but why would we resist if our very God, if it's the very people of our God that is oppressing us? So we have to get out of that. So at this point, we know what it is. We've had the lessons, but right now, 2017, we need to focus inwardly, because it doesn't matter what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They cannot stop us if we focus inwardly and work together. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Anytime that they have conquered us, it has only been because we helped them do it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying, if we focus inwardly of what we need to do, how we need to operate, what we need to build, you know what I'm saying? And we start with family, individuals and family. We start with what we teach our young ones, so that when they grow up, you know what I'm saying, when they take the mantle, when they take the torch, they understand 360 degrees of this knowledge that they need to maneuver and to play this game. You know what I'm saying? The business of life. They'll understand what it means to be a nation, what the goal is, what our objective is. They'll understand the lessons of the past, you know what I'm saying, the lessons that we need to learn from so we don't repeat. And they'll also understand what we did in the past that was successful that we could still do now, what kind of upgrades need to happen, you know what I'm saying? And then their brilliance will take over, and they'll understand we could plant these seeds right now. And that's what we have to do. So those of us who are already doing the work, it's up to us to come together and to continue, you know what I'm saying, to push the envelope and to set the road for the next generation. But if the next generation is on point, you know what I'm saying, then, you know, we'll be able to sustain the struggle, and we'll be able to enter into actual victory. And I don't really think that it's as far away as people may think. You know what I'm saying? Look at what's happening. You know what I'm saying? We're starting to educate our own people. You know what I'm saying? We have different, it doesn't take Dr. Umar to build one magical school for us to be able to educate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Q Butter's doing things over in New York. I'm doing things over here in Seattle. Other people are doing things in little pockets all over the nation, whether you see it or not. You know what I'm saying? These things are happening. People are learning the importance of growing their own food. You know what I'm saying? We have an independent black media that even if we don't have the budget of some of these mainstream media, what we do have is technology. What we do have is the fact that we are the masses of the people. We represent our people. So that means that those who do watch, those who, you know what I'm saying, if they participate, if they word of mouth it, now we can have a strong network that we can stay connected. That media piece is important. They don't spend $500 billion a year on propaganda for no reason. To be able to control our own narrative, to be able to get the information out to our people, this is a very big and it's a very important thing. You know what I'm saying? So we have different people with different businesses that's popping up. You know what I'm saying? We have the foundation of everything we need as a nation. We have it if we were to organize it properly. That's all we have to do. Let's just maximize what we already have. Let's not worry about what we don't have. Let's not worry about what we need to do. We continue to do what we're doing. But if we were to actually maximize that, if we were to consolidate that more effectively, organize that, then you would see a tremendous difference in the power that we have in how quickly, you know, we could get everything else that we need. We already have enough. We have all the different skills. We have the different institutions. We have everything that we need if it was organized properly. So that's why people look at us a certain kind of way. You want to know why when you walk into the store, those Koreans look at you a certain way, why those Indians look at you a certain way, those Arabs look at you a certain way? Because if they had what we had, there'd be no way they would be shopping with us when they could be shopping with themselves. So in other words, they see us as foolish because they know the power that we have. They know the brilliance we have. They know that the only thing that we lack is unity. So they pity us and they look down at us. But in reality, you know what I'm saying, if we just consolidate what we had, we would not even look at the challenge. The challenges that we have would disappear for the most part. It wouldn't be over, but that would be it'd be huge. So that's what we need to really understand. We need to understand the power that we already have within ourselves and with our unity. So we have to do things that we practice. We have to practice doing that. Practice being able to meet our own needs. You know what I'm saying? And then we see that the momentum builds.
Well, I just wanted to shout out this 24-hour Blackathon that's going on. That was started by 11 platforms in 24 hours to raise money for Hurricane Harvey. It's broadcasting www.youtube.com/New Black Knowledge. Salute to my brother MBK for opening up his platform for 11 other media platforms to come together as a media conglomerate and as a fundraising mechanism to support the brothers and sisters out there that are on the ground and, you know, bringing relief, aid, and assistance to, you know, the families that were affected by Hurricane Harvey. That phone number to call in for that show, if you're not listening directly through the YouTube link, New Black Knowledge, is 216-716-4033. And in about 18 minutes, we're going to go live for my portion on Do the Knowledge Radio, and my time slot is from 10:45 Eastern to 1 a.m. Eastern. So we're going to be in the building doing this over there. And unfortunately, Shakti won't be able to be with us for this particular episode, but their magazine, www.getthiswisdommagazine.com, Get This Wisdom Magazine's new release, their Black Business Magazine edition, is coming out next week. So on the 13th this month, 13th of this month, that magazine will be, the new edition will be premiering the Black Business joint. So y'all definitely don't want to miss that opportunity. And also on that day and every Wednesday, they're going to be dealing with the Black Power Awards and having a nominee or two on the platform, building up for the Black Power Awards, and that's 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They'll be on there as well. So if you wanted to cast your vote, you can go to www.blackpowerawards.com and go to nominations and nominate your brother's platform. Do the Knowledge Radio, Internet
Yes.
Radio. Nominate my brother Doggy Diamonds TV. Nominate my brother Chase Black. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying, for this Black Power Award. And from whomever that you nominated and you saw them get nominated, this is the opportunity now for the second portion to determine who will actually win the award. You see what I'm saying? So it's no longer a nomination now; it's the voting mechanism. So make your vote count. You know what I mean? Go to www.blackpowerawards.com, click on nominations, and go through that same process that you did to nominate. Also, they have a Viewer's Choice Award, from what I was told. For the brothers and sisters who brought the live stream, you'll be able to do a Viewer's Choice Award, and that's another category that they adding. And the editor-in-chief who Get This Wisdom magazine, The True and Living Earth, Shakti, Everlasting Peace Earth, will be the presenter of that award live in the ATL. And also, if you ain't got your tickets, get your tickets. You can get your tickets from www.blackpowerawards.com. So let's, act in solidarity in regards to these events and these, places that are facilitating us coming together. You see what I'm saying? So make sure y'all support that. And we got like 10 minutes left on this joint, man. So I'm gonna give you the floor for your final thoughts, your plugs, your shout outs, everything that you could tell the people about what's coming up with yourself, with your platform, with your nonprofit, and all of the other things that you're working on. You got the floor, Jake.
First of all, I want to once again thank Get This Wisdom magazine, the whole Liberation Minded Media. And when I was speaking about practicing unification and practicing meeting our own people's needs, this 24-hour Blackathon, shout out to New Black Knowledge, NBK, and all the platforms that participated. When I'm speaking about practicing unification and practicing how to be there and be dependable for our own people, this is what I'm talking about. So like the Black Power Awards, that's a demonstration of practicing unity and acknowledgement of ourselves, to empower ourselves, to get, to get that spirit right. The Blackathon, we have several different platforms that came together, not for our individual glorification or not for any other reason, but to be part of the solution for our people down in Houston. Shout out to my homegirl, Sienna, who's down there right now in Houston with her children, nonetheless. So what you're witnessing is like, we do have the ability. So it don't matter. We don't raise $1 million on the Blackathon. It's all good. What we're doing is we're practicing being able to trust each other, practicing being able to depend on each other, practicing having unity and coming together at times of need. So now we could build off of that momentum. Now we actually start to see what that looks like, how that feels. How comforting that is, how important and life-saving that is. And now we start to be able to build from that. So we have to practice these acts as much as possible. We should be participating in holidays, with ourselves, with each other, I should say. We should be practicing these things, practicing giving certain days to our ancestors, because they suffered for us. They literally suffered for us. Like they could have just went out and died, and not put up with the shit they put up with, but they actually suffered. And then they actually went through the process of having children and raising those children the best they can. And that's the only reason why we're here. But Black I Stand Radio, every Saturday on Blog Talk, make sure you follow the show. You can just put Black I Stand in your Google and enough things will come up. You can go to the Black I Stand Nation Facebook group. You can go to the Twitter handle, Black I Stand RBG. Let's see, we got the Yes program, Youth Empowerment Solutions 1@gmail. If you want information, what we're going to be doing with that is once we get it running properly and efficiently here, we're going to actually start satelliting those programs out into other communities around the country. The paperwork's already been done. The hard part has already been done. You know what I'm saying? Once we get in position where we can actually satellite it, all we need for you to have is a crew of people that can run whatever kind of programs you decide to implement that you think is necessary in your community. So these are the kind of things that are happening right now. It's not just the YES program. There's all kinds of different programs. There's Dare to Struggle. You know what I'm saying? There's Cuba that has this thing. There's all kinds of different programs that are spontaneously being built. You know what I'm saying? Spontaneously popping up to meet our needs. So we need to make sure we support those and recognize them. And the way you're going to recognize them is by supporting the independent Black media. So support Liberation Minded Media, support MBK, support all of the platforms that is participating in the Blackathon, support all of the independent, raw, Black first, Black media. You know what I'm saying? We have to be the ones to legitimize them. Who gives a damn what other people feel about them? You know what I'm saying? We have to legitimize ourselves. We have to legitimize our own institutions. We have to legitimize our own holidays, to celebrate our own ancestors, to celebrate our own victories. It does not matter. We don't need permission from anybody else. You know what I'm saying? We can establish, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, empower ourselves without the influence of others. So Black I Stand Radio, we do have some shows coming up. We will have a show with Q Butter coming up. We will have T West of Afro City G News that'll be coming on with Elena Porter. We have the Minister of Justice and the National Minister Hashim Azinga of the New Black Panther Party coming up. We have many bills that revolve around the Republic of New Africa and other ways in which that we can establish our own statehood or the ability to govern ourselves. We have a lot of shows like that. Make sure you check the archives. You'll see pretty much everybody. You know what I'm saying? If you look at Black I Stand Radio, you look at Liberation Minded Media, anybody who is anybody has been on one of those platforms, guaranteed. Support independent Black media. Support your people in Houston right now. Show love to the people in Houston. There ain't nothing to donate. Matter of fact, from the PayPal, you can go to kmlane31@gmail to make your PayPal donations. So make sure you tune in to YouTube channel, New Black Knowledge, and you'll see all the links there. Make sure you tune in. Do the Knowledge Radio. That's going to be coming up with his segment in about 10 minutes. Who else we got coming through? Dagger Squad's coming through. Myself and Sister Renee of the Rundown with Renee is going to be coming through. And, you know, we want to really get this money. We want to get the support. We want to know what's going on in Houston. So those who are in the Houston area, make sure you tune in. Make sure you call. Make sure you let us know what's happening on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you be safe. You know, yeah, that's about it. New Black Panther Party self-defense. You know what I'm saying? Get organized. Get organized and get fortified. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things within the New Black Panther Party under the leadership of Hashim Akhenaten Azinga. There's so many different things. If you're in education, we have a Ministry of Education. We have a Ministry of Culture. We have a Ministry of Health. We have a Ministry of Information. We have a Ministry of Defense. We have youth ministry. We have all the different elements that we need to build our communities are in there. So it's not just black boots and guns and all that. It's really about community organizing. So even if you don't join, you should be able to support. You should be able to know where they're at. But right now, what we're doing, we're raising money for our people down in Houston. So make sure you put up $20, $50, whatever you can afford. Put that up. You know what I'm saying? It'd be much better for you to be broke and comfortable at your home than to have a pocket full of money in a situation floating in a boat somewhere in the middle of Houston because your house just washed away. You feel me? So look out for your people, man. Support your people. Show the world. Let's show ourselves. Let's show ourselves how much we love each other. Let's show ourselves how much we can support each other and that we can depend on each other. You know what I'm saying? That's the true wealth that we should be looking for. We should be looking for the wealth of the support that we have for each other, the love that we have for each other. You know?
That's right. And yeah, my time slot is from 10:45 to 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then I'm followed by the Rundown with Renee and Black I Stand Radio, 1 a.m. Excuse me, to 3:15. Look at this dedication that the fam got going on. You know what I'm saying? Then we got 6 Dynasty Media from 3:15 to 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we got My skin is my sin to close it out. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna be doing the tallies from the funds that were raised and how they're gonna be allocated and all of that. You see what I'm saying? From 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, that phone number to call in for that show is 216-716-4033. Or if y'all want to call into my show and get that work, 515-605-9360. Again, 515-605-9360. Press 1 with your questions or your comments. Put on, share the link.
Let me just say this real quick. Let me just remind the people that, listen, this money ain't going to Red Cross. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to George Bush or Donald Trump.
Fuck Red Cross.
We found independent black organizations on the ground in Houston, and that's who the money will be allocated to. It's not going to the Red Cross. We know how they do. Like, we're keeping this internal as possible. This is black media making an appeal to black people to help black people through organizations that we run. Because we can do that. You know what I'm saying? We have the capability to do that. So that's what we're doing. So this money, you ain't got to worry about the Red Cross taking 90% of it, you know what I'm saying, and giving it to the police or some bullshit. This is organizations that are in the streets that already deal with our people. You know what I'm saying? These have been sought out. There are actual efforts that are going on that you're not seeing on the news right now in Houston and the surrounding area in Texas. There's actually Panthers down there. There's actually individuals down there. There's RBGs down there. There's churches. Our people are not just sitting there, you know what I'm saying, without helping each other. You feel me? Like there's things that's going on that you're not going to see on Fox News. This is one of them. You know what I'm saying? We're raising money to help our people. It ain't nothing for us collectively to all put a couple of bucks together and be able to have a huge impact to help our people. So
they just did a benefit concert in Oakland. Now, this is Oakland, California. You see what I'm saying? They just did a benefit concert last night for the families in Houston. They just did it last night. That's Oakland. You see what I'm saying? So they got brothers and sisters all around Texas, you know, in the surrounding areas. Ron Green came in from Philly. You know what I'm saying? You got people that are coming down there now that the ways are being open. You see what I'm saying? There's more and more people coming down there to aid. You see what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, salute to Houston Unity Tribe. Salute to MBuff. You know what I'm saying? Salute to New Black Panther Party down there under Crystal Muhammad. They doing some great things. You see what I'm saying? MBPP, Black Cross.com, you know what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of organizations down there. Black Riders Liberation Party is down there on the ground. QP Newton Gun Club is down there. They securing the areas. They patrolling the hoods. You know, they're coming out with boats. People rent boats. People sent boats. All kind of stuff is happening. So amazing work is happening from amongst our people moving for us, by us. You see what I'm saying? So these other people are using this as an opportunity to get tax write-offs and tax breaks and all this other stuff. You see what I'm saying? But we really down there with our best foot forward and the effort in solidarity with our brothers and sisters. So we definitely thank you, Jay Dizzle, you know what I'm saying, coming through, showing that love and solidarity, you know what I mean, on this African Liberation School, you know what I'm saying? You know, don't forget to tune in every Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be right here on Get This Wisdom Live. Salute to the editor-in-chief, Shakti, Everlasting Peace, Earth, Cali Divine, and the whole team, the dynamic team of Get This Wisdom Magazine. Make sure you go to www.getthiswisdommagazine.com and get your subscription. Get you a yearly subscription. You see what I'm saying? A yearly subscription is like $40. You see what I'm saying? So get you a yearly subscription. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And vote Do the Knowledge Radio for best online radio. Black Power Wars. Put that vote in, y'all. He deserves that
vote. Put that vote in.
Put the vote in. Rock the vote.
Rock the vote. Oh man, vote a cry, man. You know what I'm saying? Vote a cry, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so definitely check out www.getthiswisdommagazine.com and also check out www.shakticares.com. Check my brother out, Brick the Foundation, www.itsmebreak.com. It's itsmebrick.com, www.tahirrbg.com, and check out United Front, www.ufasafo.com. See what I'm saying? So we about to bounce out of here. Again, that calling number for our show today, 515-605-9360. Again, 515-605-9360. Press 1 with your questions, your comments, your shout outs, your experiences. If you're out there in Houston and you see this, we want to hear from you. You know what I'm saying? Come share your experiences if you've been out there on the ground working, whatever the case may be. We want to hear from you. We putting on for
the good, the
Houston.
bad, the ugly, baby. We need to
You know
hear
what I'm
from our
saying?
folks.
Houston stand up, man. You know what I'm saying? So we out of here.
Peace.
Peace.